is up? It's your boy Flash from ALWT Gaming, aka Malachi36. Let me remove that mute button from It's the Nine Balls face. Let's go ahead. There we go. There we go. There's that beautiful face.
There it is.
Yep. Yep. It is here on a Tuesday, May 11th. Welcome to ALWT Things Gaming, episode 48, I believe. 48.
I got 48?
Yes, sir. We are moving
Jeez,
and grooving.
So many of these, jeez.
Yep. Trucking along. Over here, we have Gravity Mark II, as you guys can see labeled up there in the upper right corner of, well, actually for him, that's like upper left. But upper right corner of the screen. How are you doing today, good sir?
Doing pretty good, sir. How are you doing today? Been playing a lot of Animal Crossing these past couple days. Completely re-terraforming my entire map. So it's very tedious, very expensive, very much so a big pain in the butt. So I've been having fun.
And I'll have to see. I might just try it on a demo time period or something like that, because I just never, Animal Crossing just never been my jam.
It's worth at least a try. It's worth a try.
And I'll say this. I'm remodeling everything. I shoved a year ago. I actually got this at launch. Before the pandemic started. I shoved all of the animals into the bottom right corner of the map as tightly as I could and just made a little shanty town for them. And then I just made the map whatever I wanted. And I just put everything, all the shops and stuff in the opposite corners of the map. Because I was like, I want to utilize the whole map. I want to, I don't want to waste any space. I want to run around and use the map. And then what I realized was that it just took way too long to get from point A to point B. And then all my friends were in the corner. And I'm like, no, now I gotta completely tear down mountains I've made. I have to make more mountains in other places. I've got to move buildings from one place to another, and it's just very time consuming. It's very tedious. It's gonna look beautiful when it's done, but until then, it's a project, to say the least.
I heard that. S Killed inside the chat says hello. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hopefully everything's good in Denmark over there. And of course, rounding out our trio, we have It's the Nine Ball Corner Pocket. How art thou?
Oh, I'm doing great today. It's off and just did a bunch of gaming and relaxed today. It was a very relaxing day.
Sounds good, man.
Relaxing.
Sounds good.
Been playing a lot.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, been playing a lot for me. Just been playing a lot of leveling up in Cyberpunk for the end, and been playing 14 besides that, and of course me and Ohio still playing a bunch of Smite.
Yeah. Now, Smite Night this past Thursday was actually pretty successful, so that was a good time. I think we went undefeated, at least from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We were undefeated. Let's just say that. So, but yeah, that was a good time. If you guys want to check that out, make sure you guys are checking us out. ALWT Gaming at YouTube. Got to give a shout out to Crash Be Smashing for the recent follow.
What's up, Crash?
And Kutya TM as in Mary for the follow. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, we do this every Thursday. We do this every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until 7:30 p.m. Sometimes we go over, sometimes we go a little under, but ultimately we have a good time when we talk about the stuff that we all love, which is AKA video games. But before we jump into the video game stuff, I had to ask you guys. I had an epiphany. All right, I was thinking about the PS5. I was thinking about Xbox Series X, and even the rumored Nintendo Switch. And I have to ask you guys, what do you think has the best console launching, gaming launch? Who had the best launch with video games? I have a few examples here. We don't have every single game that's out there, or every single console, I should say, that's out there. And we don't have all the games that came out at launch. But I wanted to kind of throw a few examples just to get the mind going and rolling. So, back in the day, N64. Nintendo 64.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're going old school.
I'm traveling here.
All
right. Well, hold on, Bill and Ted. Let's strap in here.
And keep in mind, that these are launch titles. These are not exclusive, so it's very possible that they came over to other consoles later on. These are just launch titles with this particular console. And again, this is not all the... I just took 3 from each one, okay? So, for N64, we had Super Mario 64, we have Pilot Wing 64, and we have Saikyo Habu Sogi. Alright, that was on N64. For Dreamcast, we have Power Stone, Expendable, and Ready to Rumble Boxing. For Sega Saturn, we had Virtua Fighter, Myst, and Tama. We had, for PlayStation, this is the very first PlayStation, we had NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Zero Divide, and Air Combat. Not Ace Combat, Air Combat. For Xbox, we had Halo Combat Evolved, we had Project Gotham Racing, we had Dead or Alive 3. For PlayStation 2, we had Dead or Alive 2, we have Kessen, and we have Eternal Ring. For Xbox 360, we had Amped 3, Call of Duty 2, Gun. For PS3, we had Genji Days of the Blade, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and Call of Duty 3. Xbox One, we have Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Battlefield 4, and Call of Duty Ghosts. For PS4, we had DC Universe Online, Blacklight Retribution, and Contrast. Nintendo Switch, we have Breath of the Wild, Shovel Knight, Super Bomberman R. I'm assuming that stands for remake, possibly. Xbox Series X/S, we have, and we're still kind of in that launch window time period. We have Breath of the Wild. Oh, no. We have the Medium.
I was going to say, hold on a second. I was going to say, if I could get Breath of the Wild on my Series S, holy, that is a game over. I'm sorry. Like, if I can utilize this thing's SSD to, like, play that game, it's game over.
So we have the Medium, the Pedestrian, and Control Ultimate Edition. And then for PS5, we have Astro's Playroom, Bug Snacks, and Demon Souls. So, now again, not staying limited with that list. That's just stuff that I quickly threw together and was just thinking about it and stuff like that. Some banger consoles that we had, some not. Like Sega Saturn, people probably forgot that Sega Saturn was even a thing. Even if you want to throw in there Luna and friggin' what's the streaming service that Stadia or whatever, yeah.
You remember Luna before Stadia. You know what? I'm sorry, Google, that just says enough. Like, if people can remember Luna before Stadia.
So with that being said, and really think about this because I want you guys to get out of the element of current gen, because a lot of people, myself included, when I'm thinking who has the best lineup, I'm only thinking of Xbox Series X and PS5. But if I really, really, really take myself out of that element, who had the best gaming launch lineup for consoles? What was that truly looking like? Because I'm remembering, I have my answer. And I'll say mine in a minute. But I want you guys to think about it for a moment. All right. As you guys are thinking about it, I'm going to show some gameplay of our first story. I'm going to show some gameplay of our first story officially, just so that way you guys can get an idea of what we're about to talk about here in 1 segundo. So definitely take some time to think about it. And here we go. I'm actually even going to... There we go. So right now what you guys are seeing is New World, which we're going to talk about, like I said, here in a minute. Definitely some cool concepts here. Little MMORPG action. And you gents, just let me know when you guys have your thoughts together of what has the best console lineup.
I already got mine together.
You got yours? How are you looking, Gravity?
You know what? I'm still working on it.
Alrighty. Take some time. Yeah, just weigh out the good, weigh out the bad. Think about it all. Think about it all. You're thinking really hard.
And you know what? This matters to me. This matters to me. I'm full disclosure, I'm probably gonna be talking out of my ass at this point. But I mean, come on, like I want to try to do this justice if I can. All right.
All right, about the looks like S-Kill can finally hear us. I'm not sure if we're on mute or if you had to refresh, but welcome, S-Kill. Good to see you.
Do we have audio problems, Skill?
I think we were fine, but yeah. But if we were having audio issues, just let us know. I am actually bringing the screen back of us, getting rid of the image of New World, which we're going to talk about here tonight. But yes, so again, that's going to be the first official kind of topic we're going to be talking about. But we're going to start with you, Nineball. What do you think? What console do you think had the best gaming launch?
For me, based off this, this was a tough one, but I'm going to take the Xbox. The OG Xbox. It was tough between that and Dreamcast. Because Power Stone, I swear to God, we spent like years playing that game. I think we did spend like probably almost an entire day playing Power Stone.
That was my jam, man. That was my jam all the way.
But overall, I'm gonna take the original Xbox.
Okay. And again, you're not constricted to this list. I just threw those because there was more launch titles than what I listed. I just wanted to get the brain going and moving and all that. So, but yeah, so we're going with Nineball Corner Pocket is going with Xbox Original. Gravity Mark II. How are you feeling?
What? Full disclosure, not feeling very confident. And I'll tell you why. I didn't really start paying attention to video games until I'd probably say it was probably around like 06, 07 that I really started to pay attention to like actual launch titles, actual like launches in general, like finding out about E3 in general. So like it's one of those things that especially like if I have to go back, like if I had to go back in time, like I'm like, oh shoot, like way back in the day, like I didn't get into like an N64 until I was like around like the early 2000s. So like it ended up like, you know, all these like really great titles had already come about.
You missed Emmitt Smith football.
Yeah, like there were so many titles that like I just didn't get a chance. Like in terms of like best launch, if we have to go off of launch titles,
just pick the one that you like the most.
You know what? I'd have to say it's gonna either be at the very least either the N64 or the OG Xbox. It's for me, like I can't decide. It's one of those two. And honestly, Ocarina of Time, like not even considering that, like that didn't even come out until like a couple of years after its launch. But the N64 had a lot of really great titles at its launch. But I mean, even when you look at like the OG Xbox, I mean, you have Halo, you have what was this, Mad Dash Racing, you had NFL. What was that? NFL Fever 202. 2002. I didn't really play that one. But you had the original Oddworld. Like, yeah, Project Gotham Racing. Oh, geez, like, what was that one?
We got a little yeet from SQ Gamer, by the way. Little yeet.
I feel like I'm kind of killing it right here. But at the very least, like, if I had to think of a launch that was the most memorable, it'd probably be the Wii.
Okay, that's a new one. That's a new one.
I mean, if you think about it, the Wii crushed like everything in terms of sales, in terms of numbers, and I mean, when you look at it, all they did, Wii Sports, as silly as that title might sound, that game was so much more fun than so many of the like most of the titles that the Wii actually came out with. I remember playing Wii Sports more than any other game on the Wii than I actually played. So like 'cause I played all the way through like Twilight Princess, and I remember playing Wii Sports more than Twilight Princess.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good one. There's only one. I have my answer locked in, but as I really, really think about it, it's kind of a tricky one.
Ooh.
I would say. So my number one is PlayStation 2. Only if Final Fantasy X was in that launch window. If it was not,
It was. Final Fantasy X was in the PlayStation 2 era because I had it on PlayStation 2.
well, yeah, well, it's definitely in the era
During
because I
launch?
remember. Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. I definitely know it was in the PlayStation 2 era because I remember very, very vividly their commercials that would come on, and I would just see Cloud. I would just see Titus and everybody just skating down the little from the airship down to the temple. Like, I loved that. I thought that was super dope. And there was that was the first time that I felt like gaming was changing for more than just being like a little platformer or sports or whatever the case is, to where you like the plot lines were actually becoming really, really, really good. Because I started playing PlayStation 2 games. Like, I mean, of course I had a PlayStation 1, but I was more focused on PlayStation 2 games than I was on the PS1. And then when I went back and I played Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Legend of Dragoon, that's when I was just like, okay, there's something more here. There's something dope here.
I'm definitely going through Legend of Dragoon now on my Vita.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one, man. I'm still on that vein that I would like to see a Legend of Dragoon remake, but I like, so like when I think about it, I'm like Final Fantasy X like was the one that sticks in my head the most, and when I finally got my hands on Final Fantasy X and played through it, because that's actually one of the reasons why I decided to give 8 a try, is because one of my friends had advised me to it, but at the same time I was like, Final Fantasy 8, why does this sound familiar? And like the way it was kind of like the aesthetic of it reminded me of 10, to where I started playing 8 thinking it was 10. Like, that's why I was waiting, because there's a person named Renoa, and I was thinking that was Yuna, but it's not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of got that a little mixed up, but again, like, that's when I was like, okay, Final Fantasy is actually pretty cool. And then I went back to 7, that was a banger, and then I went ahead and played 10 for the first time at that point, and I was like, okay, hands down, I'm a Final Fantasy boy all the way. So my answer would be PlayStation 2 if Final Fantasy X was a launch window. I know it came out for the PS2, but if it was a launch window, then that's my answer. If it's not launched, then my answer is actually Dreamcast. Because that Ready to Rumble boxing, boy, let me tell you.
That would make it so hard. And we spent
Dude,
so
you know
many
what?
hours on Power Stone, too. I invested so many eons. The Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was on there.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Like, I never actually had a Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah?
And I never did. I never had a Dreamcast. You know, like, I inherited my N64 from my dad. I inherited, well, at the very least, he still has it, but, like, I was able to play the Sega Genesis, like, from my dad. Like, he had, like one of, like, the OG Sonic. He had the OG, like, Sonic and Tails. So, like, that was, like, my window into some of those older classics that he had. But there's this gap, at least like with Dreamcast, that like I didn't even know existed until it was way past the Dreamcast's time, and I was like, holy crap, the Dreamcast had this many titles, like it was this good, like Ready to Rumble, I remember playing that on I think like later iterations on that,
Yeah.
on like other consoles, and I was like, why did I never like play this on Dreamcast? And it's just one of those. It's one of those things that like I just feel bad. I almost feel left out because people are like, yeah, the Dreamcast is great. I'm like, yeah, sure.
That, because I mean, you had Afro, you had Afro Thunder. That was my jam. But Ready to Rumble. You had Power Stone. That was the first time I actually started playing House of the Dead series. You did have there was a what's it called? there was a Sonic game. It was like a Sonic adventure game that was open world.
Sonic.
Was that Sonic? Yeah, they had Sonic Heroes for the Dreamcast. They had it for the Dreamcast and for the
not
PS2.
Sonic 06.
Yeah.
You're not talking about Sonic 06, are you?
It was. I just all I know is that
good.
all I know is that it was a very much like the first Zelda, Ocarina of Time, or I can't even say it, but it's very similar to that. But it was Sonic, so like it was literally open worldish. It was really cool. Now, granted,
I know that's what Sonic Heroes was kind of like, and that was one of my favorite Sonic games of all time.
It very well could be that because I never owned that game, but I did play a little bit at my friend's house, and that game was awesome. S-Kill says, I thought Gravity said drink cast.
Drink cast. I wish. You know what? If video games had a flavor, let me tell you, we tasted it all.
There you go.
Quote me.
But yeah, so there you have it. So you have it's the 9-ball with Xbox, the original Xbox.
There was a one game though on the Xbox which did it. I logged so many hours. Me and my family, we used to have so many competitions on Dead or Alive 3. It wasn't even funny.
That was yeah.
And Unreal Tournament, Unreal Championships, and Dead or Alive 3 on that. We logged so many hours on that.
Yeah. You got Gravity Mark II with you said N64 or the original Xbox. So if you had to choose between those two, which one would you pick over the other?
You know what? Kind of think that I would lean more towards the N64. I mean, they had Super Mario 64, which, I mean, how many remakes has that gotten?
Yeah.
how many spin-offs has that like inspired like since then? Like, and honestly, like it's probably just because it was like the first 3D Mario. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that was probably the only reason. But I mean, like Super Mario 64 is such an iconic game. It's one of the reasons why, like, honestly, the N64 killed a lot of my motivation to play like older games when I was younger because it was 3D. Because like I had gotten used to all of these 3D games, and by the time I was like, oh, like all these older Zelda games, all these older Mario games, I'm like, side scroller?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, so you mean to tell me I just do left to right the whole time? Like jump up, jump down. It's like that's it. Like you're just running there the whole time. Like what are we doing? But it inspired so many other spin-offs. Like I honestly like feel like the N64 was a very very iconic console. But if we're talking launch titles specifically, like. I mean, yeah, they had Super Mario 64. They had Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, which I briefly played when I was younger. I remember I had the console, like the cartridge for that. You had to do the whole blow trick, which apparently doesn't work, but I swear it does.
I believe it. I think it works. I'm with you.
That's the thing. Like they say it doesn't work, but how come it works every single time? Mm-hmm. Like when you take it out and you don't do it and you put it back in, it doesn't work. You do it like 5 times, it doesn't work. You do the put it back in, somehow it works.
Yeah.
Saying
conspiracies, man, conspiracies.
It's all a conspiracy. They don't.
And then we have mine, which is the PS2 only if Final Fantasy X was a launch title. Otherwise, it is definitely Dreamcast for me. Guys, yeah, like we said, I mean, and of course, if you guys have anyone that's inside the chat or listening to this later on, whether it's Anchor or YouTube or Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, make sure if you guys want to throw in your comments as well, you guys can throw in to think what you have as the best console lineup of all time when as far as launch games and launch titles. Just send us an email at leasttrythat.game@gmail.com, or you guys can go ahead and send us a message on our social media platforms if you just search us at ALWT Gaming. But moving on, Amazon stepping into the world of MMORPG. I'm actually going to go ahead and play this on mute while I read this article to you guys. It's showing off New World. Showing off some new so Alessandro Filari from GameSpot says New World is the largest game set to be released from Amazon Games. Oh, let me make sure it's not an ad. It is an ad. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so Alessandro Falari from GameSpot says New World is the largest game set to be released from Amazon Games. In the same vein as World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, New World is an online RPG where players can take quests, take in lore, and collect loot in the world of Aeternum. Essentially a high fantasy setting that takes inspiration from the Americas during the age of the exploration. With its August 31st launch approaching, the developers of a large-scale open-world MMO opened up New World to a final preview ahead of its release later this summer. One of the most constants in an MMO is the focus on dungeon crawling, and we had the chance to dive into New World's take on the new group quest called Excavations. New World puts more of a focus exploring a large open world at your own pace, letting you take on trades, engage in PvP and PvE content, and build out your character how you see fit. This aspect of the game comes through in a major big way during the excavation missions. Similar to the other online RPGs, you and your squad of adventurers team up to engage in the story-driven standalone adventures located in the instance locals. In our recent hands-on, we got to explore the high-level excavations in the Armin ruins, which you can check out and below, and that's on their site. As the name suggests, excavations are about uncovering and exploring the lost ruins of Aeternum, which houses ancient treasures and hidden threats that have gone undisturbed before your arrival. This particular excavation starts out in the network of mines before descending further into the ruins of the lost civilization. Tying back to the themes of the New World, the MMO is about exploring an unfamiliar land and uncovering its lost history. So, gentlemen, as if you guys are looking inside the chat right now and you guys are taking a look at this gameplay, so far, what is this doing for you? What are you guys' thoughts about this new MMORPG? Do you think that this is going to be costing money? Is it going to be a free MMORPG that's going to be on PC or consoles or anything like that? Again, this is from Amazon. So what are your thoughts? What are we thinking?
I'm thinking it's going to force me to have a Luna subscription, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like, I get it. Like, if anything, like if I had to be a businessman about it, I'd say this would be the perfect title to get your platform Luna out there to people and be like, hey, here you go. Like, join Luna, like get a subscription, like play this game. It's gonna be really great. It's gonna be really fun. And it's one of those things that's like, yeah, like that sounds great. But it kind of, at the very least for me, it kind of comes back to the same problem with Stadia. It's like if they're like, and I'm kind of the same way as Malachi. I go to where the games are. If there's a game that I really, really want that's on a new console, I'm probably going to get that new console to get this game. That said, if it's something like, hey, like here's a really fun game, get it on Luna, it's like, okay, well, hold on. Let me see, like what else does Luna have to offer? Like, is this an investment that I really want to do? Or is this something that, like, I'm paying all of this extra money just to pay for this game on top of the subscription service that I'm already paying for it? It's like, how much value am I really going to get out of this? Because if it's a free game, it's like and again, I don't even remember how Luna works. I don't know if it's like if it's like
now.
I don't know if it's like tacked on to like an Amazon Prime subscription. I don't know if it's like, like maybe kind of like Game Passes or maybe like Gold, like Xbox Gold is, where you can kind of like get up to a year at a time.
It looks like you get like, they have early access right now. It looks like it's $5.99 per month, or you can get it with Ubisoft for $14.99 per month.
Oh man, that's a really low entry price though. Shoot, that's nothing. Okay, hold on. So with that, it's $5 a month. That's really not that much. I'm sorry. $5 falls out of your pocket once a month. You're not gonna miss that. Some of us might. Some of us might not.
I still pick up my pennies.
I'll say this. I have been trying to nickel and dime as much as I can. Like, at the same time, like if I'm gonna get some value out of this game, like, if I gotta pay $5 a month, this is fine. Because like,
at the bottom.
Because like, because even honestly, I'll say this: if it's something, I would prefer that this game be something that you buy outright in full, or it's a free game like with your subscription. If it's like a subscription to Luna on top of another like monthly subscription like Final Fantasy 14, I'm sorry, like at that point I don't want to deal with two subscriptions like at once for the like one thing. That's just a little too much for me. Because like I'd rather just, you know, pay my subscription and either get the game for free and just play it like that. Ultimately, like that's what I would prefer. But if I can get it, like if I just pay for my subscription, I can just pay for it once and then I don't have to worry about it like ever. Like I think that's fine. I feel like that's honestly one of the reasons I'm hesitating going back to Final Fantasy 14. That as much as I do want to go back to that world and play the game and like continue the story, it's like I don't want to have to keep spending like $15-$16 a month for it. It's something that like it's not something that like I at the very least right now can really feasibly afford. I know that there are a lot of people who can't feasibly afford that, and especially with all of the expansions. Like you can play like through all of Heavensward like for free, and that's great. But I'm kind of at that point where I'm pretty much done with like Heavensward. Like I'm near the end of Heavensward, and it's like if I want to keep playing it, like I've already bought the expansions for it. But if I want to keep having access to my character and my items and my weapons, it's like I have to keep paying for this monthly subscription. I just don't. There's so many other things that I'm doing right now that I just don't have that time to justify the subscription. Now with this game, it seems like the action is like real time. And I'm definitely a very big real-time action person. And the entire time I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, you son of a... You ghost, you get over here. You get over here. I'm going to get you. We're going to get you. We're going to clear this dungeon. We're going to get the good stuff. Like, I feel like I'm, at the very least, because I've been playing Integral Factor with you, Malachi. Like I'm getting those moments where I'm just like, you get over here. I'm gonna get that really cool weapon from this, and I'm gonna go to the next dungeon. I'm gonna do the same thing to that guy over there. Like, it's definitely making me want to play it, but I have a lot of questions about it. It's one of those things that like, ultimately, if it's too much for me to really, like at the end of the day, like if it's not worth. If I'm not going to put enough like time into this that like justifies the money that I'm putting into it, then I'm probably not going to play it right away. I'm probably going to put it off for a later date. But honestly, like I really do want to play. It's like just kind of looking at it. Like honestly, like at the very least, like looking at this dungeon, it's kind of dark. Yeah, I get the dungeons are supposed to be dark, but like I kind of want like a little bit more light. I kind of want a little bit more brightness. I want to be able to see a little bit more. I just don't want to like have to squint at my screen the entire time being like, what am I looking at? Who am I looking? Yeah, that. Like I don't want to just be like who am I looking at? Like I don't like, like I don't. Yeah, like it's like, oh geez, like is that the enemy or is that my ally? I can't tell. Like we're all just like in this like mosh pit together, just like swinging just in the air, just hoping we hit the enemy. Like like I will say it's making me want to play it. But like I said, the money that I'm gonna end up putting into it, like the time that I put into it has to justify it. So we'll have to see like when we get some more information on like pricing, how this is gonna work. But ultimately, like, am I excited for this game? Yes. I am absolutely. This looks really fun. This looks like something I could spend a lot of time playing with you guys like all the time. So I'm hoping that it's good. Honestly, I'm hoping that it's not gonna be like exclusive to Luna. That they do kind of like share this game with other platforms. Honestly, I feel like that's just more revenue streams that they can open up for themselves. But regardless, I'll have to see what the pricing is going to be like by the time it comes out. But I am excited for it.
I think, and I hear you on all of that. I'm usually not one for games that you have to pay to play on in the first place. There's only been 2 games that I feel like I really wanted to pay to play them, and one of them I fell off a long time ago, but it was great during the time period, and that was DC Universe. I loved playing DC Universe. Even though I had to pay for it, I loved playing that with my friends and everything like that. Now it is one of those things where you still have to pay to play. I mean, it's free to play, but to a point. But then if you wanted to do like the tier 3 and tier 4 stuff and above, now you have to pay for those, or you have to pay for the packages or whatever the case is. For me now, there's no merit in that for me. Final Fantasy 14 is one I still find merit that I want to play and just expand inside that lore and just be able to get ready for the DLC, because there's just so much content there. Nine Ball, you know, you saw my face when I thought when I got done with Realm Reborn. I was like, all right, I'm about to be close to Heavensward. 4 weeks later, I'm like, where am I at? Oh, you got 80 more missions to go, buddy. And I was like, wait, what? So I definitely I got my money's worth out of that, and I continue to get my money's worth out of it, which is why I don't mind paying for Realm Reborn. This one, the vibe I'm getting, I would like this one to be free, at least with Luna. And I say that because all this is making me want to do is just go play Elder Scrolls Online. That's what this is kind of looking like. This is how I kind of feel. The fighting system this was more fluent than Elder Scrolls, but that's the vibe I'm kind of getting. I am interested to see how that world's going to be, and for Elder Scrolls Online, you don't pay a monthly fee. You literally buy once and you have it, and then of course you have expansions that come out later on, but those are just single purchases. So just seeing this in its and also, I agree. I think that I would like it to be on other platforms. If I can get this on my PlayStation, this is by all means I'm diving into this. Unless there's a monthly subscription for this particular game, I would have to be convinced a little bit more. But at the time, like if I had to come down to it, I don't want to have multiple subscription services like Final Fantasy 14 and this. So if I had to choose, I'm going to choose Final Fantasy 14 every single time. Little Tofu, how are you doing? Good to see you, Little Tofu. 92 inside the chat. We're just talking about this game that you see that right now in the background. It's called New World from Amazon. It's an MMORPG. And we're just kind of giving our thoughts about it right now. And I'm very curious to see what more this is going to entail. And see what's going to happen here. But, yeah, it does look interesting. I wonder how many players there will be. I wonder how their raids will be. Yeah. What about you, Nineball? Does this do anything for you? Or do you have anything that differs from mine and Gravity Mark's comments? As Lil Tofu 92 says, hi, legends. What up?
At least I might have something to do while I wait for my packages from Amazon.
There you go.
No, I don't have much to input. You already said most of it. It would have to be free for me. I'm not interested in it. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I don't think it's gonna be subscription based for it. What I'm seeing so far, I think it should be free, and I'm not real into right now let's say the streaming thing, the way they want to put it, so it won't download onto your hard drive. It's going to just stream straight through
if it's Luna directly.
Yeah and everybody knows about streaming services. It can get real finicky sometimes. If your internet has any problems, and it'd be like the worst times too when your internet decides to cut out. I mean, just think of some of our Smite nights.
Yeah. You ain't lying.
Yeah. It's gotta be free. If it costs anything, I already got. For me, I like MMOs. I got 2 subscriptions, so yeah, I'm not putting up with a third one.
Yeah. There's a building system?
There's a building system in there. I just went ahead and remove the image and brought back the chat. But definitely looks pretty cool. Okay. Go ahead and comment on that.
So I'll say this. Just from the gameplay that we saw, at the very least, like I already assumed that there was more to the gameplay than what we saw. Like, and at the very least, like, just looking at, like, the dungeon crawling, I'm like, yeah, that looks fun. Like, I like dungeon crawling. Who doesn't like dungeon crawling? But I decided to go out of my way, and I was like, you know what? Like, let me like take a look at it. Let me see like a little bit more. It looks good. Like the more that I look at it, I'm like, this kind of is almost reminding me of some sort of like World of Warcraft crossed with like Red Dead Online.
Okay.
At the very least, like that's kind of like the vibes it's giving me. Like I'm seeing like this screenshot of a guy who's like dressed in like old you know like oh jeez.
For me, it's
I can't
kind of like
even...
Remnant of the Ashes in a way.
Kinda, yeah. I get that.
A little bit. Like there's so much to it. There's bears that you can fight. There's there's like very fantasy looking, like high fantasy looking environments, along with just
give me trauma.
There's bears. The terrain looks really interesting. Like some of it looks very high fantasy, and other parts of it just honestly just kind of look like Red Dead's map. Like it just kind of looks like the Old West. And like I'm looking at this picture right here, like it looks like it's just like kind of like the Old West with like a dude and like honestly like this guy looks straight up like Gandalf, like with a horse.
Yeah.
But it's like the Old West. I'm like, this looks really interesting. At this point, I'm really curious because again, I love dungeon crawling, and I know that that's not all there is to this game, but I'm really at this point I'm really curious to see what all this game is going to entail, because if this game, I hope it's free. I agree with Nineball. I hope it's free. And I've said this in the past, especially like with with RPG, like with MMOs in general. Like if you're gonna have an MMO and you're gonna have a subscription service, don't have like in-app in-game purchases. Is my thing. Because like I know Final Fantasy 14 has that, and I think it's a fine option for those people who do want to spend extra money to get those cool things. But for me, I'm already spending X amount of money a month. I'm not going to like allocate more money to just get this really cool aesthetic. But if I'm not paying anything for it, it's kind of like Fortnite. It's like if you're not paying anything for it, and you see that really cool skin that you like, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't mind spending $5 to get that skin.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe a week.
Smite, yeah.
You know what? Abs has been playing Smite. She just started playing Smite last night. Was telling me more about it. So I'm like,
she just started.
She started playing Smite a little bit of Smite last night. She was like, yeah, like I went to Arena. I was doing all this stuff. Says nothing to do with New World, but she was she started playing Smite last night. She was like, yeah, like my buddy like took me into the arena. He had me try out all the characters, and it was really fun. And she was like really talking my ear off with it. And I was like, okay, might have to start playing Smite now.
Yeah, dude, it is a fantastic one. Yeah, we'll talk off stream for that one. But yeah, that's a fantastic one. I will say to your comment as far as the in-store transactions, I partially agree. I don't think that they should be in there if you're already paying a monthly subscription. If it's a timed thing, if you only have for a limited time, then you're kind of like, hey, if you want this Cloud Strife outfit, you can only purchase it from this time to this time. And so you better get it now if you really, really want it. I think that's something that, and again, I don't know if Final Fantasy 14, I know Final Fantasy 14 has in-game purchases if you wanted to go ahead and buy certain mounts and stuff like that, but I don't know if any of those are timed. I never looked into those. I just go ahead and play the game itself. But if they did something like that, then that would be something that I would disagree with. I wouldn't want to have that because I already have issues with that on Smite, for example, where I want to get the Archeon skin for Thanatos and I can't get it because it was a time thing and it's never coming back again. I'm holding on to hope that it's coming back again, but it's never coming back again, and it pisses me off.
You get out one of them chests or something.
Yes, I need some. Someone bless me. Bless me with the chest, all right? Because I definitely need it in my life. You heard it here first.
And that's another thing about these games is that like ultimately like I prefer my games like without it like in-game purchases, like if it's possible. Because it's just honestly like it's just an annoying feature that like you have to honestly like I feel like I have to work around it when I play a game. Like I have to like make sure I avoid that section so I don't accidentally buy something. But I'm like in terms of like preference, I think I'm more so like I prefer like instead of like saying like, hey, like here's an exclusive skin that you can only buy for this amount of time. I'd rather the developers just make a whole like level. Be like, hey, like here's a really tough challenge that you have to do. Finish this challenge and you get this reward. Like I'd rather feel rewarded for playing instead of like rewarded for like spending my real money.
And that's one of the reasons why Warframe is such a good option. Because for Warframe, you can either
you know what, I downloaded that and I need to play it.
Yeah, you can either buy it up front and just you just pay money for it, or you can put in the hours and build it yourself. Like that's one of the beauty things about Warframe is that you can do that. It's not pretty much practically anything that's in that game you can actually build. But is it going to be easy? No, it's going to be a challenge. But it is going to be something that might be a fun challenge. Some of them might be tedious. Some of them might be frustrating. But I think if a lot more developers decide to go the Warframe approach, we might see more people jump X, Y, and Z on aesthetics and stuff like that. But then at the same time, that also kind of opens a door for hackers to be like, all right, well, if I can build it, then I can go ahead and just get 1,000 of this or whatever. And that next thing you know, I have 1,000,000 helmets.
Yeah, but you know, like for example, Warframe. You know, like for example, Warframe has a pretty good auction system, the way you can go to like a certain area and use plat in order to get things. Another one I know that did it for a little bit, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but World of Warcraft, some of their mounts, you have to beat certain raids in order to get them out.
Yeah.
They gotta beat certain bosses. But like I have like a mech mount, but I had to beat like this mecha gnome to get it.
Mecha gnome. You know what? I like that. Like I honestly like I love games that reward the player for going out of their way and actually playing the game. It's just one of those things that like I feel like there's certain games, especially like Fortnite's like the easiest like game to like to kind of point at. It's like it's a very easy game, like aside from the building, like which is really the only challenge other than like aiming. Like I mean, I'm sorry, like I don't like it like when I run up to someone, they build an entire mortgage in front of me. Like, and they're just like, all right.
I'm like watching them. I'm just on the bottom floor. Just I'm gonna shoot him. I'm gonna take his building down. You just start building. I'll take care of the rest.
But like I love those kind of games that like have you go out of your way to just to be like, hey, like if you want to do this, you have to do this. Like as long as everything feels balanced, I feel like that's fine. Because like if it prevents you from doing something like simple. Like before you do something really hard, it's like, okay, like I kind of want to ride this mount, and you're having me like go up against this boss that I have to get like I have to coordinate with like 26 other people to beat. We all have to be this certain class to do them. We all have to use these certain like at that point like that's just ridiculous. Like I'd rather you just kind of like just be like, hey, here's a boss, beat the boss, cool, you get to ride the mount. Like, I like that a lot more. I like it when games like reward you for actually playing the game. But ultimately, I feel like with Warframe, that's a really good balance to strike. Because if you want to just skip the wait, cool, you can skip the wait. If you don't want to skip the wait and you want to grind it out, you have that option to get the same thing without having to spend the money. At the very least, at that point, it doesn't leave this any sort of room for like any sort of I guess like like implying anything with certain players where like, oh, like you have a really cool art, like you have like a really cool Warframe. I can't tell if you bought that or if you're just really good at the game. And quite frankly, it shouldn't matter. Like at that point, like, cause like I don't know. Like I don't know if you guys have experienced this before, but like when you see people with like really cool gear and you're like, oh, you can only get that gear if you buy it. And it just kind of like makes you like imply certain things about the player, and you're just like, well, this person over here, like they might be like maybe not that good, but they're just blowing money on the game. They're getting all this really good stuff from it. You're just trying to grind it out and trying to get like the bare basic stuff. I don't know. I feel like that's a good like medium.
as long as they get me the Archeon skin for Thanatos, they can buy whatever they want. I don't even care. I just want that skin. All right, but I agree with you. I think I don't honestly. It does at the end of the day. Who really cares? Like, if you want to buy it, you can buy it. If you want to play for it, and it gives you that option, you can play for it. But I think the only time that it would actually, and this is a conversation for another time, I think that the only time it would actually affect us as gamers is if it's like a play to win, aka Star Wars Battlefront 2. And you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. That's when it starts getting annoying. It's just like, all right, I see that they have this Jabba the Hutt skin, and you can only get that if you buy it. So chances are, and then pop, you're dead. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I just got killed by Jabba the Hutt, and I'm freaking Darth Maul. You know?
Okay. You know what? Hold on. Now I'm just picturing like Jabba the Hutt in the Battlefront 2, like "He's got no botocola solo," just slithering around like
It happens. It happens. I'm just saying, if I'm Darth Maul, I should be able to take on Jabba the Hutt, and if he is 30-0 against me, that's a problem. So yes, I mean, I'm pretty sure that if I'm not mistaken,
I ain't gonna talk about Battlefront 2 because we had a God, what do we have? I played that. I think it was with you, and they had like a god tier Darth Maul or somebody running around.
Yeah, well, I think it was all of us. I think we were all on that game. It was me, Barely Leave You, Gravity. I think it was literally all of us.
Yeah, and they had like I can't remember who it was, and they was just like we was like stormtroopers. They had like a god tier.
Yeah.
Ray or somebody running around just murking folks. You just feel so insignificant, your little blaster.
Hey, General Grievous was super annoying. I gotta say, like he had a really cool skin. Like he had like half his face was melted. It was pretty cool. Anyway,
yeah. So real fast, a few little tidbits out there, just that we have on the document here. I'm actually going to skip it and come down to here because I want to give you guys the chance. If you guys are having a hard time finding yourself an Xbox Series S or X, I actually haven't heard too much about people having complications out there, but I know that there's our system shortages, and it is being a real inconvenience for gamers that's trying to get themselves a console. So, did Microsoft find a solution? Eddie Mackey from GameSpot says Microsoft is rolling out a pilot program for a new way to help fans in the U.S. get their hands on a new Xbox amid the global semiconductor shortage that is making it hard to buy all manner of new tech, including consoles. Microsoft has announced what it's called the Console Purchase Pilot. Anyone in the U.S. who is signed up for free on Xbox Insider's program on Xbox One can register for a chance to reserve a Xbox Series X/S console. Details on how the program works are available from the Xbox Insider Hub on the Xbox One. Posting on Reddit, Microsoft said it will invite a subset of Xbox insiders on Xbox One to participate in the program. Those chosen will find an invite for a flight called Xbox Series X/S console purchase pilot in their inbox. So not exactly a perfect solution. I know that they're trying to do something with it, which is definitely good. It's always more options are always better. Looking into it, sounds like it's still somewhat of a like just to register is still kind of like a gamble, but at least they're trying to do something with it. So hopefully they can actually find that solution, because it sounds like they might, and then that can be something that PlayStation can roll out as well. And then later on, Nintendo Switch Pro, because we know that's going to go through the same scenario when that comes out. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Not looking forward to it at all.
Don't even get me started with the Nintendo Switch Pro or whatever they're gonna call this thing. Like as soon as my Switch becomes obsolete, I'm going to be so frustrated. Gonna be so frustrated because I'm gonna want to get the new console. I don't want to get the new console because my Switch is perfectly fine. Like I said, don't get me started.
I won't get you started. So we're going to go on over to the next little tidbit that's in there. Square Enix making moves. And Stephen Petit from GameSpot says more than 15 years after its initial release, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children is getting a new edition, this time on 4K UHD Blu-ray. The 4K UHD version will include the additional footage added in 2009 Blu-ray release, making this definitive way to watch the animated follow-up to the classic Square Enix JRPG. Advent Children's 4K UHD Blu-ray is available to pre-order now at Amazon for $24.49, which is discounted of $6.50. It's worth noting that if you pre-order a copy now, you'll get the lowest price offered ahead of its June 8th release. As expected, Amazon is offering pre-order discounts right now, but it's possible the price could even go lower or back up. This edition also comes with the standard Blu-ray digital editions of the film. So I threw that in there because, again, at the end of the day, it's little news, not anything too major. It's been out forever, 2009. We're 12 years into this.
12 years, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's an older show, but I think
God, I do feel old.
My thing though is that I think Square Enix PR is going really smart about this, because this is a movie that arguably is probably the best Final Fantasy movie that's out there. Some people might think it's Kingsglaive, but honestly, Final Fantasy wise, I think this might be the best Final Fantasy movie out there. But that is being now mentioned this year, this month, and they're going to be dropping the Blu-ray 4K Ultimate HD version, or Ultra HD version. They're doing that in June, all the same month of when E3 is supposed to be happening, and for Summer Game Fest. I think they're going to be announcing Part 2 this year, guys. I think they're going to be announcing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, and all of this is build up for it, because again, think about it. March, we had what? Final Fantasy VII Remake for free for PlayStation Plus people. That's one. Two, we're getting integrated on June 10th for PlayStation 5 owners, and then of course we have the Yuffie DLC. That's coming out on June 10th. Now you're telling me 2 days before integrated, it's announced that they're coming out with the Ultra HD 4K version of Final Fantasy VII, the movie. You know what I mean? And on top of that, we got First Soldier reveal that was done this year, and we have Ever Crisis that was revealed this year. I'm telling you guys, I'm pretty confident that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is, or whatever they claim it to be, is going to be shown late June, or at some point in June, early July. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm hoping that Final Fantasy 16 comes out, because I need some points on my board. I need some points for my fantasy league. You know what I mean? So
as much as I would love to say that they're gonna talk about Part 2 like this year, I don't think they are.
You don't think so? I think they'll talk about it. I don't think they're going to announce it.
They might talk about it, because at the very least, like what we're seeing from Square Enix is we're actually seeing like a very strategic, very smart, very big brain like lineup that they're doing, because you're seeing like Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, you're seeing Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, with two games that I'm very excited to play. Even though they're both mobile games, and at the very least, like this news with the remake of Advent Children, it's one of those things. I'm like, I saw Advent Children once, years ago. I haven't seen it since then, and it's one of those things. I'm like, okay, well, if there was actually like more that came like with the movie, like that might actually be something I might be interested in. Like I might actually like be planning it, like I'm getting it. And even if I don't get it, that actually like it still plants a seed in your head about Final Fantasy VII in general. It still lets you know, hey, this world that we've created is still around. We're still adding things to it. We're still adding things to the lore, to the storyline, to the world itself. So, if anything, like I feel like it's a good reminder for people, just to keep it on people's minds. It's one of those things that like when you see like what First Soldier is coming out like late this year, fall, I believe. So like fall, it's like First Soldier is coming out fall this year. Ever Crisis is coming out sometime in 2022, and so it's one of those things. I'm like, if both of those games are going to come out this year, I'd say they're probably going to announce Part 2 this year, because like Ever Crisis is coming out in 2022. I feel like at the very least, it's going to be something that's going to if anything, a reminder for people, like, hey, don't forget Final Fantasy VII is a thing. So that way, when they do announce Final Fantasy VII, like Part 2 with the remake, they're like, oh, hey, like I remember that. Like you guys were like, I've been hearing nothing but like Final Fantasy VII stuff. So I feel like if anything, like they might talk about it like at the end of this year, but like I feel like they're probably not going to announce it until like maybe next year. But Square Enix, please prove me wrong.
Please prove me wrong.
Please prove me wrong.
Yeah, I needed to come out sooner than later because right now on our fantasy gaming league we have Mildewy Carrot taking the lead with 36 points right now. Currently on his list, he has Monster Hunter Rise with 18 points. He has Kenner Bridge of Spirits. He has Ghostwire Tokyo. He has Shin Megami Tensei 5. He has Psychonauts 2. He has 12 minutes. He has It Takes Two, which also got him 18 points. And he has Stray with the counter pick of Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyone that's currently wondering how this goes, 70 points. 70 points is the threshold on a 100-point scale. If their game that they selected goes above 70 points on the Metacritic/Open Critic, you gain those points. If it goes below, you lose those points. And then, of course, if you choose a counter pick on your opponent's side, which is the 6 of us, then if it does well, you lose points. If it does terribly for your opponent, then you gain those points that your opponent would lose. Zaka TV, which is AKA it's a 9-ball, currently has Resident Evil Village, got him 14 points. Returnal, which got him 16 points. Warhammer 40k Dark Tide, The Medium, which got him 5 points. Ruin King, a League of Legends story, which didn't come out yet. Oddworld Soulstorm 1, which got him 1 point. Guilty Gear Strive, Mario Golf Super Rush, and he has a counter pick of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. So he's in second place comfortably there. Well, I can't even say comfortably because right on his heels is Illest Be Live with 34 points. He has Bravely Default 2, which got him 8 points. He has Near Replicant version 1 point and a lot of numbers, which got him 13 points. He has Little Nightmares 2, got him 13 points. He has Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. He has Dark Pictures Anthology House of Ashes. He has Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. He has Tales of Arise. And then he has an open spot that he can still pick up another game with. He has a counter pick of Final Fantasy 16. And then in fourth place is Fantasy Football by Silent. He currently has Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which comes out next month. Hollow Knight, Silk Song, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, a new Pokemon Snap, which got him 11 points, Axiom Verge 2, Elden Ring, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. He has a counter pick of Back for Blood. And then in fifth place is Ohio with God of War Ragnarok, Back for Blood, Humankind, Evil Genius 2, World Domination, got him 7 points, Dungeons and Dragons, Dark Alliance, Biomutant. He picked a Biomutant. He has 2 open spots still. And then I don't have a single point on the freaking board. But representing ALWT Gaming, I have Horizon Forbidden West, Deathloop, Halo Infinite, Final Fantasy 16, please come out, Far Cry 6, Solar Ash, Dying Light 2, Call of Duty 2021, and I have a counter pick of God of War Ragnarok. So again, you guys can check out our progress there at fantasycritic.games/league, and you guys can check it out well, I'll include the link later because that's a long link and I'm not going to read that right now.
I've heard some stuff about Back for Blood. I was just listening to that.
It's actually really good. It got a lot of good reviews out of the alpha.
Yeah, the guy I usually watch, you probably never heard of him. It's called Wow Such Gaming.
Yeah, I heard of him.
Okay, he does the Why You Wouldn't Survive, where he'll put people talk about how they're surviving, like if the flood attacked or if necromorphs attacked, and he explains why you would not survive. Like, I was just watching one about why you would not survive the Doom Hell invasion. If demons start pouring, chances are you're not gonna make it.
No, there's no way. As a side, on a quick side note, I am really excited for Biomutants.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that Ohio picked that up. That little sneaky punk.
Oh, that might have been a good move.
It may have been. It's a highly anticipated game for sure. So
it's been on my radar for quite a while actually. Like it's been on my radar, and a lot of the mechanics look really interesting. So
I really
might
don't
be getting
know
some
much
points.
about it.
Say that one more time, Handball.
That I don't know much about it. I haven't really
take a look at the trailer, man. I think you of all people are going to be up there with Gravity.
Yeah, so you get to like they have these different like different races that you can pick from. They're all like animal based. And you can actually like pick like what your stats, like your starting stats are, like your strength, your charisma, your intelligence, like what have you. And they kind of like a hexagon kind of thing that kind of has all of your, and you can actually move that around, pick like
Can you repeat
like
that?
stats you want to.
You're choppy inside the audio. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, yeah. So like you get this little hexagon that kind of like has like all of your stats in it. Then you can actually like maneuver like the point within that hexagon to kind of like say like which like like what all you want to highlight, and depending on what stats you choose to emphasize, that actually changes the way that your character looks. So like if you like make your character stronger, like they're gonna look more muscular. If you make them like very like faster, like you increase their speed, they're gonna be smaller and they're probably gonna be scrawnier. And then throughout the game, there are different like areas that you encounter that are kind of like these like mutant areas, and like those areas like you kind of like address them. I don't know exactly what you do, but you kind of like get in those areas, you try to fix everything, but you end up getting mutated a little bit. So you might be like a raccoon character, but all of a sudden like now your arm is like mutated and it looks like kind of like an insect arm. So now that gives you different powers and different abilities that you have, and it's a big open world game. It's one of those games that ultimately, like when I look at it, I'm kind of part of me like I still need some more information from it, because I'm like I don't know if it's something that I'm gonna like maybe play for like a couple weeks, or maybe I'm gonna play like a long time. If anything, I'm leaning more towards the latter because it looks really interesting, and the concept of just having your character, the way your character looks, be based on like what your skills are. I think that's kind of interesting, and also the mutant aspect of it too, because like that also like physically alters your character's appearance.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking like maybe you can like specifically like go for like certain mutations, so that way you can like get your character look like a certain way. So maybe you can have like you can have like a fire raccoon, or you can have something like that. It looks really interesting.
All I'm saying is I'm going straight Cheetor. I'm going to be all speed, everything. Give me that bunny and that cheetah and that mongoose speed, you know?
Yeah, I was looking at pictures. I might want to be a grasshopper.
There you Yes, Sensei.
Like I didn't put
It looks
grasshopper.
good.
Yeah, it definitely looks.
Let's just throw all of the points at Ohio at this point.
No, I'm not conceding. He's not winning this. No, don't give him that.
Let's just talk up the game that's gonna get him points. Let's just do that real quick.
One last little tidbit out there for anyone that is interested inside EA events, which I definitely am because of Dragon Age for sure. An EA upcoming live event is coming. So Eddie Mack, first and foremost, shout out to Eddie Mack from GameSpot. Majority of the news that we get is like from him. So
Big E.
Yeah, Big E. Shout out to you, man. EA's annual gaming show, EA Play Live, is coming back in 2021, but it won't be connected to E3. So pause about that. Let that sink in. It's not connected to E3. Back to the quote. Back to the article. The publisher said that on Tuesday, EA Play will be held virtually on July 22nd. EA made an announcement on social media with a video, but it doesn't appear to contain any teases for what to expect from the showcase. That being said, we have a few guesses. EA is releasing a big new Battlefield game this holiday, while BioWare has Dragon Age 4 in the works. These titles, in addition to updates for Apex Legends, are likely to be discussed or shown off during the show, in addition to surprises. EA Play 2020 was held in June amid a very busy schedule of the other announcements and reveals from other companies, so it seems EA is looking to give its own show more breathing room this year. Last year's event brought big news, including announcements of Skate 4, E321, meanwhile is scheduled for June 12th through the 15th as an all-virtual show. June 12th is also the day that the Devolver Digital is planning to host its own summer broadcast. The busy summer schedule will also include the latest Summer Games Fest event in June, which that's also it says it right there, in June from Jeff Keighley as a virtual Gamescom on August. So First and foremost, I have to say this. I enjoy that they're having June/July be that portion of video game announcements, because now it kind of feels like E3 all over again, even though it's not all E3. I like that they're kind of doing that, because last year it was a wreck. it was all over the place. We had Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest lasted for 3-4 months. It lasted the entire summer, which, I mean, I guess it's in the name, Summer Game Fest, so it makes sense that it could last the entire summer. But some of the events that they were kind of doing, it was almost like, all right, did we really need to see that? You know what I mean? So it's just that's kind of my thought about that. I like that now we have one particular month in this time period to look forward to, but we're going to get stuff from E3. We're going to be getting stuff from Jeff Keighley. We're going to, at some point, it's assumed, it's not confirmed yet, but it's assumed that PlayStation is probably going to be doing their state of play and stuff like that. Their big state of play, I should say, in June, because they already had a small one, which was about Ratchet and Clank, and then they showed off Subnautica and Among Us coming to the PlayStation, which that pissed me off. But and again, I probably have no right to be upset about it, but I'm upset because I was really hoping that we would see Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, and Sifu. Those are the two biggest indie titles that I'm really, really stoked for this year.
But you got Subnautica. I mean, Subnautica's awesome.
I don't care. I know. That's just me. That's just me, though. That's just me.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'd much rather watch Neebs Gaming go through their Subnautica Sub-Zero playthrough and watch them do that than actually play it myself. I'm sorry. Their playthrough of Subnautica was absolutely hilarious. Mm. Did you guys ever see that? Like, it was... No. So it is, because it is a single player game, they had just one of the guys actually play it, but they played it based on like the basic story, like with Subnautica is like, you're in space, your spaceship crashes and you land on this aquatic world. And basically the whole plot that they came up with was that this guy like worked on the spaceship crashed. Now he's like stuck on this aquatic world, and now he just like anytime they make a video, like it's like he's like on the phone with customer service.
Oh yeah.
And he's just dealing with them the entire time.
Oh, I gotta see that.
It's amazing. Please check it out. They've already started their Subnautica Sub-Zero playthrough, and it looks like this game looks fun. I've played a little bit of Subnautica, but I've gotten so much more enjoyment out of just watching them play than I have actually playing myself. So I feel you with that. I'm just like, yeah, Subnautica on the PS5. Like, sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that too, about Neebs Gaming and everything like that. I just haven't actually seen it yet.
Yeah. But in terms of like EA and their whole thing, if anything, when I hear that, I just hear paywall 2021.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, let's show you all the games that we can get you to buy stuff in. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, and again, it just kind of comes for me. I'm just like, prove me wrong. Like, show me some games that I might be interested in. Because at the very least, like when it comes to EA, it's like as a publisher, like it's fine, but it's just like I want to see like good games. Like, cause like at the end of the day, cause part of me is like I'm looking more at developers and like less at publishers. It's like, cause like if you're the ones like making the game, that's one thing. But like if you're making the game and then you're having someone else publish it under their name, it's kind of like how much involvement did you really have with this? Like how much influence do you have with this? Like is this what the original game was supposed to be like? And it's like, and as ambitious as Anthem was. Like, I kind of I'm not gonna lie. I kind of liked the ambition. I'm not gonna lie. I applaud the ambition that they had with it. Mm-hmm. Like I wish it was bigger. I wish it did more. I just kind of feel like Destiny kind of kicked it in the shins.
Oh, it wasn't Destiny. It was a whole bunch. Like they had a whole thing about
clear.
that.
Yeah, it was.
I honestly don't even mind the game as it is right now. Now, granted, I'm not the end game content. The only argument I would have right now, which I haven't tried on the PS5, but the biggest argument that I would have is those load times on the PS4. Like it was ridiculously long, and that's not
I should try that out.
try it out on the PS5 and see how quick it is?
You know what? I should try it out at some
I'm
point.
gonna run on my NVMe on the PC and see how it works.
There you go. So yeah, I'm just kind of, and that was my only thing because I loved flying around. I felt like Iron Man. Like it felt great flying around. I like
that was cool.
Yeah, I like the combat and everything like that. The story was, it didn't fully engage me, but there were characters in there that I thought was pretty cool too. I was just kind of curious of why it got so much flack, other than it at launch was actually breaking people's consoles, because that actually was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, to me, like, it's not a game that I've only paid $5 for the game. You know, I literally paid $5 for the game. I think that was completely underrated for that price. But again, I haven't got to the end game content, so I don't know exactly how it is. But from what I played well more than $5 worth. I would say at least 20, 25
$5 worth. Now imagine you got it for 60.
Yeah. I was about to say from what I'm hearing, and don't even get started on the deluxe versions. You know what I mean? So it's just like from what I'm hearing, it's not worth 60, 80, 120 bucks. But I am wondering if it is worth 30, if it is worth 40. You know what I mean? Because that technically would be the length of a Miles Morales game, which is only 8 hours of experience, technically.
I would say it'd be around bargain bin price for me.
It's like that bargain bin at Walmart where you're just like, ooh, let me see what's in here. I'll pass.
You guys, real fast, on a side note, do you guys remember, and this is completely not even video game related, but you guys just triggered something on my mind. Do you guys remember those like little samples that you were able to get inside of Walmart, like the little cheese and crackers, and see which ones you liked and everything? Kroger. That's it. It wasn't Walmart. It was Kroger. Man, those were the good days. That's all I have to say.
I think Sam's Club still does it, but like I don't have a Sam's Club like club membership or whatever the heck that is. Which again, I'm sorry, that's like the dumbest freaking idea that anyone's ever had. Like, here, let's just have a grocery store, but like let's just have like everyone pay like a membership to like get into the store. Like that's kind of dumb. But at the very least, like they sell things in bulk and they have samples all the time. Oh yeah, like the sample stuff. Oh my god, like it would make me want to just be like, let me just get the sample. Let me just go to this clothing aisle. Let me just try on this jacket and this hat and this this fake mustache, and let me just go back around and just be like, oh, is this deli meat? Let me see.
Go over there. Let's go over there and make your own sandwich.
Yeah, I was about to say, you make some
Gouda, you say. This is fancy.
Making your own panini. Yeah, I had to throw that out there because, again, you guys said Walmart, and it just made me think about those free samples that I missed so much, which is probably not happening anymore because of COVID. Throwing it out there, the next story that we do currently have right now is Days of Play is making a return, guys. Days of Play is making a return. Again, our boy, Big E, as Gravity would say, Eddie Macick from GameSpot says, as part of the campaign, players can register to take part in an event that calls on users to work together to play a game and earn trophies to unlock special rewards like PSN avatars and themes. Registration is open and available now here with the stage stage one of the event kicking off May 18th. On that day, players can earn points toward 3 different goals, and the first of which is games every PS4 or PS5 game that a user plays for at least 1 hour during the week will count towards the goal. Double points are available if you play games with friends. The trophy goals, meanwhile, calls on players to earn specific numbers of trophies each week, and each person can unlock a maximum of 6 PS4/PS5 trophies per week that count towards the goal. The third goal is a bonus goal. Should the games and trophies goals meet, a new set of extra goals will be announced and detailed. in terms of the reward, players will receive special PSN avatars and PS4 dynamic themes, and they will be delivered to your inbox on your console. The dynamic themes are only available on PS4 because the PS5 does not have dynamic themes. But I wonder if it's gonna come to the PS5 for dynamic themes, because I've had that conversation before, and I think that we're still in that early phase where it's just like, hey, first let's go ahead and first get PS5s out there in the wild, because right now I think to be honest with you, at least I don't know if this is worldwide or just nationwide, but I think there's only like 8 million PS5s out there. That's a lot, but also not a lot.
Not when you compare it to 7.7 billion.
Billion what?
People.
Oh yeah. So, I was thinking console. I was just like, what console sold that much? Like, that's breaking records right there. But no, no, I agree. Like, it's just not a lot. Like, as far as consoles go, like, I know that it's its launch year. It's already, I think, surpassing the PS4, which is great. That's fantastic. They want to hit 14 million at the end of 2021. But it's just like, that's still not enough. So I don't think we're going to see themes for at least until 2023. That's my guess. Because there's already another article, which we didn't include on here, that was talking about the shortages of PS5, and they're expected to be shortages throughout 2022. So
yeah, it's especially with the, because I mean, honestly, like, I want to say it's the microchip shortage. It's a lot of shortages. Like, there's a shortage on a lot of stuff. There's restrictions with a lot of manufacturing. There's just a whole lot. I mean, I just threw a mini fit there just because I completely agree with you, Malachi, in terms of the dynamic themes. Like, that's one of my favorite things about PlayStation 4. As weird as it sounds, like, I have a dynamic Final Fantasy VII Remake.
That's what I got.
as my background, like, on my PS4. And it's one of those things that now that I play my PS5, I don't touch my PS4 nearly as much. But anytime I turn it on, I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like, it has, like, I get my Final Fantasy VII Remake's, like, music that goes with it. Yeah. It's animated. Like, it's actually, like, neat. Like, everything's, like totally, like, redesigned.
The materia sound when you're going from section to section.
Yeah. That's my favorite. I love that little ting 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 ting. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. It's just like, I want that so bad on the PlayStation 5. I really do. Because, like, I don't mind, like, going over an icon and, like, the whole screen changes to, like, whatever, the game is. Like, you hover over Miles Morales and then it's like, like, Miles, like, swinging in or something like that. But it's like, I want my themes back. Give me my themes.
Yeah.
Like, as dumb as it sounds, like, I want my themes so bad. Like, I loved, like, just looking at dumb themes. I spent so much time just scrolling through, just being like, oh, here are all, like, the free themes I can get. Here's some, like, extra themes I can get. And if they did this, where they're like, hey, like, play these, and I love this idea for more, like, engagement with the console in general. Just being like, hey, if you play the console in general, like, we'll give you like X amount of this that you can use to, like, get this kind of theme. It's like honestly the Nintendo 3DS did something very similar. The Nintendo 3DS, when you closed it, it kind of like doubled as a step counter, so it would count your steps. And I remember when I was younger, I would always take my 3DS with me and I would keep it on and I would just close it up, put it in my backpack. And I think it was in college when I did this. I close it up, put it in my backpack, I just go around, I'd bike to and from places, and by the time I was done, I'd open it back up, and I had all these steps that I had accumulated, and it would, like, translate into, like, certain, like Nintendo rewards. And when I would play Animal Crossing, like, there was like a section within one of the shops that they're like, hey, like, you can actually convert that kind of like console currency into some, like, tickets that you can use to buy stuff in the game. Like, yeah, that's amazing. It was an incentive for me to actually play my Nintendo 3DS. And so it's like, if you give me an incentive to play your console, so that way, like, I can get some cool stuff out of it, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play it more often. I'm gonna make the time to go out of my way to play your console more often. I'm gonna make the time to play with my friends more often, even though I should be doing that anyway. Like, I love you guys, but like, I think it's just like, if anything, like if the console developers are like incentivizing you to play their console by giving you these really cool upgrades, it's like, you don't need it. You don't necessarily need it, but like, do you want it? I do. I'd like to be like, hey, like, look at all this cool stuff that I have for my console because I feel rewarded for playing it. At the very least, that's really gonna help with brand loyalty.
Yeah, I agree. I really hope, again, I hope that this is going to be an update as far as us getting our themes back, because there's 4 themes I have on my PS4 that I just want on my PS5, including the Final Fantasy VII Remake one, including the Final Fantasy X. I have a Final Fantasy X theme. There's another one that I have, which is Former Warframe. I like that one. And then the last one is a Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse theme. Like, all of those I want to bring over to my PS5 and just, like, I cycle them through every so often. I'm a guy that don't like a whole lot of change. I mean, my house has been the same way since I've moved in pretty much every single place. Like, it's never really changed too much. But that is something that I every so often I do switch around, just because I do have access to those themes and it's quick, it's easy to do. Sometimes I'm in the mood for Warframe, and I want to do everything Warframe. Sometimes I'm in the mood for SAO. I'll do everything SAO. Like right now we're playing Integral Factor and stuff like that. So yeah, so I just really want those themes to kind of come to light, and I would very much love that. But yeah, so anyone that is interested in the state of play, that is going to be taking place. You guys can actually register now and partake on their first event, which is happening a week from today. And I'll go ahead and save this one for last. We have 2 more stories, but we're actually going to skip this other one. If you guys want to look it up, it's PS5 VR leaks and tweaks by Autocratic from GameSpot. Make sure you guys are checking it out, because they talk about some pretty interesting stuff about the PS5 VR leaks. But what we are going to talk about is the PS4/PS5 most downloaded game for April. So Alex Newhouse from GameSpot says it's time once again to look at which games cracked the top 20 list of the most downloaded titles on PlayStation Network across PS4 and PS5 for April 2021. An older game does not hold the top spot on either list. The US and Canada PS4 and PS5 charts are both topped with new releases, with MLB The Show 21. Wow, that's actually interesting. With MLB The Show 2021 grabbing the number 1 spot. For the last few months, both PS5 and PS4 charts in the US and Canada have been dominated by GTA 5 or Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. But that's changed in April. On PS5's list, the MLB The Show 21 takes the top spot despite it being free with Game Pass on Xbox One and Xbox Series X/S. Outriders and on the PS5 exclusive Returnal comes at the 2 and 3 spot. In Europe, FIFA 21 continues to reign with Outriders at 2nd and It Takes Two third. On PS4, MLB The Show also dethroned GTA 5, and wow, guys, all right, I'm going to finish this and we're going to talk about it because that is very interesting to me. On PS4, MLB The Show also dethroned GTA 5 and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, although those two titles still achieved 2nd and 3rd place respectively. Near Replicant snuck in at 15, making it the only other April release to crack the top 20. Other notable titles include Naruto the Boruto Shinobi Strikers in 9th place, PGA Tour 2K21 in 12th place, and Gang Beasts at 20th place. So guys,
Gang Beasts, I keep hearing that name.
Yeah. So the reason why this is interesting to me is because I wholeheartedly thought that these numbers for PlayStation were going to tank for MLB The Show, because exactly what the article said. It's free on Game Pass. So I would assume that most people will be like, all right, I have a PC that can function the game, or I can go ahead and just get an Xbox Series S and just, or even on your Xbox One, because it looks like it was on Xbox One too. If you have Game Pass, you have the game. You just download it and you start playing it. So to see that MLB The Show, not only on PS5 and PS4, are still like the number one spots, it's just like, I was expecting that to not be the case. I think that GTA 5 has been up there for way too long. And Cold War, I have no comment on, because that seems to be a pretty cool game. And I know that they brought in a campaign, and it's only been up there for a couple months. But GTA 5 has been up there way too long, too many times for it to be a PS3 game on the next gen consoles. You know what I mean? But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts about that though? Does this surprise you at all that MLB The Show 21 has been the most downloaded game on the PlayStation for 4 and 5 for April?
I don't know.
Part of me wants to say no. I think the reason that I say it is that you could look at it from the lens of exclusivity, where again, like, it's free on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So you already have like potentially that dedicated fan base that's on the PlayStation. Yeah. So, like, for them to be like, oh well, like, it might be free on Game Pass, but how much is an Xbox? How can I even get an Xbox? Which now we know how you can get an Xbox. Yeah. It's like you gotta buy a whole nother console, you have to buy a whole nother subscription service, like, just to get a game for free. And it's just like, is that even going to be worth the the time and the money to actually get it on there? But like, if you already have been playing like MLB like on your PlayStation this entire time to begin with, it's kind of like, might as well like invest the money in it. Oh my gosh, my cat's been meowing this entire time. I apologize. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
It shocked me, because maybe I've just been listening to too many different podcasts from people that's like really rubbing elbows with these developers and are really dive heavy into it. Because again, when you think about the industry that we're going into and that they're in already and stuff, it's a very small amount of people that fully are paying attention to what's going on at this level. Like, for example, there's been numerous times where I have conversations with people that do play video games, and I'll mention Game Pass, and they're like, what's that? Like, some people still to this day don't even know what Game Pass is. And this is something that's been discussed for over a year now. So I think that is something to still kind of look in the lens of that, because again, like, I was full-heartedly thinking that if it's going to be on Game Pass day and date, then more people are going to be more prone to pick it up on Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, or their PC if it's available on PC. But it sounds like, at least on the PlayStation perspective, not on a competition base, but on a PlayStation perspective, it dropped and it still did pretty well. I don't know if it did as well as the former years, to where it was just exclusive for PlayStation, but it seems to be doing just fine still. So that's very interesting to see. So yeah, what do you think about that, Mambo?
I really don't know. I guess it has a loyal fan base. I mean, just because it's on Game Pass, it depends on if you got an Xbox or not. I mean, this is probably not a game. I don't see people picking up an entire Xbox just to get MLB The Show 2021.
Well, I think it kind of is.
It makes me want to give it a shot, though. I mean, I haven't played baseball games in Wii Sports, even Wii Baseball.
Super Sluggers. You guys ever play that?
I've never played that.
Oh, you know what? I've got to say, like, just as a side note, like, Mario sport games are top notch. Like Mario Super Sluggers, Mario Super Strikers. Like, they're so much fun. They're really good.
Super Strikers was my jam. That was my
Super Strikers.
Of course, I like soccer, so you already know. But that was my jam.
It's so good. But like some of these titles are kind of like honestly, like Naruto to Boruto, like Shinobi Strikers, like that. I was like, people are still playing that.
I
haven't touched that in like a little over a year.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious. Like that makes me want to re-download it and see what's different about it because ultimately,
I'm tempted.
yeah, ultimately, like that game. All right, that game actually is fun. I think some of the lock-on features could be a little different, but I do like that you can do 6v6 and team up with your buddies and everything like that. Or was it 4v4? It's 4v4. You can do 4v4 and everything
4v4.
like that. Yeah, I really like that. But the thing that disappointed me is that I was at E3 when that game was about to come out. I played it. And I asked one of the workers, I was like, do you know, because they couldn't talk too much about the game, but I was like, do you know if this is going to have a campaign, like an actual story or whatever? And she straight up told me yes. No, it doesn't. It does not. It's literally like, I mean, if there's a story, if you can call it that, it's like the introduction of your character, and that's practically it. There's no plot. You know,
I've never heard of the game.
Yeah, she was there. She was there advertising for it. So I'm like, because I know some of these. Now, granted, I know there's a lot of people that works at E3 that they literally hire them because they're attractive. Like that's how it goes. They go and have these cute girls and tight clothes and wearing hats and stuff like that. They got attractive guys that have tight clothes where you can see the muscles kind of bulging out of their shirts. Like they do that setup very well to bring attraction to the event. So I knew me asking her, there's a chance that she probably didn't know what it is. There's a chance that she didn't know what she was talking about. But I had a little bit of faith though, because her friend that I was talking to knew about Fire Emblem. And that's not a game that you just randomly bring up. Like if you know about Fire Emblem, chances are you're at least a semi gamer or a gamer. It's not just like you're pretending to know video games. Like you're at least intrigued a little bit inside the industry. So she brought up Fire Emblem. I was like, oh, all right, cool. Now do you know if the Boruto de Naruto is gonna have a or Naruto the Boruto is going to have a campaign? Yes. No. I'll find you in the street. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was like, yeah.
Well, she said...
Just track them down years later. You said they would have a campaign. Mm-hmm. It does not have a campaign. I mean, just really quick, like, just picture being that person, that poor person they put on the spot like that, like... Does it have a campaign? Like I want to like spread a bunch of positive news. So yes, it does.
Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not gonna kick you, and I'm gonna kick her. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was just something along the lines like that. I was just like, she said it with confidence. I was very, very, very excited to kind of get into that. That's one of the reasons why I got it day one, because we had a lot of fun time. Me, Barely Levu, Mildewy Carrot, we had a lot of good times playing it on the PlayStation. That was one of the games, as well as the My Hero game, which actually was really fun. That My Hero Academia, that game was really fun too as well.
You know what, the manga really killed my motivation to get that game.
No, dude, man, I'm telling you, I think you'll. Well, it's a fighter, so you have to be in the fighter mood. So
it's just one of those things where I'm just like when I look at it and I'm like, dude, that game looks sick. But like because I read ahead on the manga, I'm like, there's so many more characters that I want in this game now that like this game looks like a watered down version of what I want it to be.
Yeah, gotcha. I wonder if any of those characters are inside the second one, because there's two of them that's out. The one that we played was the first one, and Todoroki, man, he was a dog. Like I ended up fighting Barely Levu. It was me and him. We were going against each other. He was pinning me down because I still was like trying to learn how to play. He was trying to learn how to play too, but he was just better at learning how to play than I was. But Todoroki, once I went ahead and did my ice, whoo, it was game over. I wish I recorded that, man. It was a good time. Got to give a shout out for Crash B smashing for the sub tier 1. Appreciate you. Yep, all day, every day. But yeah, but what are your thoughts though about? I guess we just all kind of gave our thoughts about the MLB The Show. Still having taking the number 1 spot as far as the most downloaded game in April for PlayStation. And then, of course, we have Returnal that was up there for the PS5. But also, what was the other game? It was Outriders. That was up there, too, as well. So I'm wondering if more people got Outriders because they wanted to go ahead and play with their friends that might already downloaded it on the Game Pass. Because it's crossplay. Like, that's something that I thought was absolutely fantastic, is that it is crossplay with Xbox Series S, X, PC, PS4, and PS5. Like we played together. Now, granted, I don't mean to be bringing up the past, but I'm just saying we got to play together when you were on the S. I was on the PS5 and Ohio was on the PS4. We had a good time all the way up until Armageddon happened. Like, what are your thoughts about that? About Outriders being the number two spot on PS5?
I mean, honestly, I'm not too surprised. Outriders is actually a really good game. Like, I feel like it kind of just feels like Destiny without all of the added like in-game purchase kind of mechanics. The way that it's built, it kind of like makes you feel like you want to play the campaign with different characters, like with different abilities. And I will say, like, it makes you want to play that, but I will say, like, as somebody who like has played the game, I haven't really picked it up since then. Like, I will say, like, I'm very fortunate that I have both a Series X and a PS5. I'm very fortunate that I at the very least like have that option. But at the very least, because I have both options, I'm like, I have Game Pass, I have the PS5, like I'm leaning towards Game Pass to get it for free at the very least.
Right.
But ultimately, like, I feel like it is a good game. It just had a lot of issues at launch that the developers have addressed very aggressively, and are working very hard to, fully get it fixed. They've put in a lot of patches since then, and that's very good to hear. Like, as a gamer, like, you want to be able to hear that, and it kind of like establishes like a certain level of trust with you and the developers to be like, hey, like, if something goes wrong, the developers are going to be on it to get it fixed, to keep giving people updates on what's going on. So ultimately, like, I'm not too surprised that like it's so high up there, because I feel like part of it was that because it was like very highly anticipated for one thing, but the other thing was that, again, I think part of it was that the developers' response to all of the issues going on was so good.
Yeah.
At the very least, it would make me feel like I would want to play it more. Again, it's just one of those things that, like, at the very least with my Xbox is unplugged right now. I haven't been playing my Xbox very much. So if anything, like I've said before in my past, the PlayStation is my home. Like, that is my home base of operation. So, like, if I have the option, I'll probably play it for free with my subscription. But all of my games and all of the games I really want to play are on PlayStation. So it's just kind of like, if I really want to play with you guys, if I really want to, like, because the other thing is this, like, especially with Outriders, like, we had to talk through, I think we had like a three-way call, or like a three-way Discord chat, like, during the whole thing. And I had to have my phone open. I had to have like one earbud.
Yeah,
like,
it was still through PlayStation, but you were on the PlayStation app.
Oh, I was on the PlayStation app. I will say, like, for me, it was it was a huge inconvenience. Whereas, like, if I already had it on my PS5, it would have been such a smooth experience. And something I will continue to say is that convenience sells. If you want to sell something, make it convenient. Like, because, like, part of me, like, the entire time I was playing I was almost just at a point where I was like, just forget this. Like, I'd rather just spend $60 just to get the game, and then just be able to, like, play with you guys, like, through PlayStation's chat features, voice features, to be able to just make this a lot easier, so I don't have to deal with all of this nonsense. Like, if I'm playing by myself, it's one thing, but, like, if I want to play with my friends, there's that level of convenience. And I think that, if anything, that would kind of push me, if I had the funds and I had the means to get it, that might push me to actually, follow through with that.
Heard that. Real fast before we wrap it up.
GTA though.
Yeah, it had to go. Want to hear your thoughts about Outriders taking the number 2 spot for the PS5 there, 9ball, right before we dismiss for the evening, so that way we can get back to gaming.
I don't have much to say. I haven't really played Outriders yet. I do feel you on that one, Gravity, because I go through that a lot when I play Final Fantasy 14. Even though,
Yep. Since he's on PC, for anyone that's watching or listening to this later, that's the reason why he has to party up with us through the PlayStation.
I use PlayStation to party, but I predominantly use my PC for gaming, which is I guess predominantly my home. I mean, I love the game on the PlayStation 4, but for me personally, when I do single players, like when I'm playing Cyberpunk, I'm about to start playing some Death Stranding here. I'm a predominantly be on a PC for that stuff. It's my home system where I live at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I got an Xbox. The Xbox. I forgot which one this is.
One.
Yeah, Xbox One. They gotta name their Xbox something better.
They just Xbox. This is the rest of them. Just do Xbox Armageddon, and then just start naming it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from there.
I thought their code names were perfectly fine.
Yeah, Scorpion,
Yeah.
Scarlet.
Scorpio, Scarlet. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, so much better than PlayStation.
Lockhart.
Yeah, Lockhart. Like, yeah, like Xbox Lockhart. Yeah, I got the Xbox Lockhart. It's like, oh, you have the Lockhart. Oh, I had the Scorpio. It's like that. I'm sorry, that's so much cooler. They really just need to keep the code names and just go with that instead of like Xbox One, Xbox Series X.
They would have been fine if they just
one
kept
X.
it.
Like,
they would have been perfectly fine if they just kept it Xbox, Xbox One, Xbox 2, Xbox. It would have been so much easier. But you went to Xbox 360, then one, then S/X.
Well,
and then on top of that, the Xbox One has an S/X as
you
well.
Want to hear something funny about Xbox? It's actually a short version of the name because it's the Direct Xbox name for DirectX.
Yeah.
So, at the very least, like while we're talking about Xbox, I feel like I would love if Xbox ended up having some sort of like, I don't know, like I feel like just like at a certain point, just making an Xbox like a PC version of an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Like because we're already seeing it with like with Game Pass where you can play on your PC and you can play certain games on your PC, but there are certain games that you can only play with Game Pass like on your PC, and there are only certain games that you can play on your Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like honestly I would love to see a day where like the Xbox is just a glorified like gaming PC. And I don't know, but that's just at least my opinion. I feel like that would at least entice me to want to maybe play more games on there, because like if I can have access to PC games on there.
Oh yeah. I was about to say, because until the last statement, I wasn't with you until you just made that last statement, because I was like, before, the biggest issue, and this is me, the biggest issue that Xbox has up until now, because now they're starting to have content on some of the Game Pass and everything like that, but the biggest issue that they had is, where are the games? Like, that was the thing. Like, that's, if Nintendo has all the Final Fantasy series and it never came out on PlayStation, never came out on Xbox, whatever the case is, I would be a Nintendo guy all day, every day. If the Bouncer was only on Sega Saturn, guess who's getting the Sega Saturn? You know what I mean? If Power Stone Remake comes out and it's going to be on PC, well, putting everything down, I'm going to upgrade my PC. Like, that's how that goes. So for me, when it comes down to Xbox, the biggest lack that there was is that you have Halo, you have Gears, and you have sometimes Bayonetta. I mean, even that's a Nintendo thing. You know what I mean?
Well, they have some good licenses. Like at the beginning of the Xbox
360
One, they hit upon Xbox One actually, because they hit upon, I don't know if you remember the trailer, the Phantom Dust.
Yeah, you talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had a trailer come out because they were supposed to be redoing it, and it was that multiplayer, and then they just dropped it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perfect Dark.
They also, that's coming back.
Yeah.
Also, Lost Odyssey, which is a top 10 JRPG, which, again, Xbox just didn't touch it. They just leave it.
And I'm wondering if any of that has to do with their relationship with, because you just said it, JRPG. So I wonder if it has to do anything with their relationship with the Japanese culture. Like
really.
Japanese studios, I should say, not culture, because there's obviously
no. If I'm not mistaken, Phantom Dust was made by Majestico, because they made Psychonauts. They also made, you ever heard of Advent Rising? This is going old school Xbox. So basically, Advent Rising, humanity's at the brink of extinction. You're like one of the last humans left. It's sort of like, you ever seen Titan AE? We're gonna go back in movie history here.
I'm drawing blanks on all of these.
Okay. Okay, so it's sort of like the video game version of Titan A, where they actually find out that these alien races are trying to wipe out humanity because humanity actually has, like, they can become real powerful if they unlock their hidden potential or something.
Mm-hmm.
And this alien race basically obliterates. They try to warn humanity, but it's too late. They wipe humanity out. It's sort of like Mass Effect before Mass Effect in a way. I would like to show you. I got the game back there. Huh?
I was gonna say, sorry. It sounds like Frieza, like annihilating the Saiyans a little bit. Like, I need to get rid of these humans before they reach their potential.
Mm-hmm. Those
Saiyans,
like,
superhuman.
It's
superhuman.
Kind of like that, but it's like Titan AE. Well, if you ever seen the animated show Titan AE, basically humanity finds this. They create this massive power station, and they basically get this massive ship called the Titan. So it attracts this alien race that feels threatened now because this ship can basically create planets and stuff. And so they just detonate Earth by killing like billions of humanity. And basically it takes place with like, I'm going to say Matt Damon was like the lead voice actor in this. It was a cartoon movie, by the way.
Interesting.
And, oh God, it's been years since I've seen this movie. Basically, they find out that they hit the Titan got out. The thing got out before the planet blew up, and now they got to go find it. It's got. Let me go. I need to go dig up the. I have to go dig it up sometime. But it's sort of like that. Phantom Dust is basically your character wakes up, and he has no memory. Humanity has no memory of what happened. You wake up in this down in the thing because it's this weird dust in the air, and some people they're called espers. They can basically take the dust and do things and create like weapons and stuff out of the dust. But if you stay up on the earth for too long, your memory's erased. Yeah, it's like a 15-minute time limit in battles. It's sort of like that. It's also like a card battler because you have to build like your own arsenal. They call it arsenal, but like a deck and stuff.
I'm getting real bad flashbacks of Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. I'm getting bad. Please tell me it's nothing like that.
I would assume it's not. Yeah, I was gonna say I would assume it's not because that was received well. But I know Phantom Dust was.
That was so painful. Getting through that game was so painful.
No, it was pretty good. It was Phantom Dust was pretty good. It was around the time of like when Jade Empire and thing was out. Back when BioWare was good.
I still have hope. I still have hope for BioWare. I mean, now they've definitely fell off the rocker quite a few times. Let's be real. Let's be honest. But I still have hope. As
long as they don't fall off at that last step, they should be okay.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Because the last step is if they mess up on Dragon Age 4. So if they mess up on Dragon Age 4, I think they're done.
I'm taking their body and putting it in the basement.
just hide it in the meat freezer.
Yeah, bye BioWare.
And that guys, that actually does it for us today for ALWT Things Gaming episode 48. And for anyone that's watching right now, thank you very much again for tuning in. We got great stuff that's coming up this week, including this Thursday is going to be Smite Night with It's the 9 Ball, with Ohio, with Malachi 36, and possibly, from what we're hearing, maybe a little bit of Abs 3315, which you guys can actually catch her stream right now if you'd like to. When we stop this, it should be hosting her if she's still streaming, which I think she is, on some Apex Legends. So get crunk up with her. And you guys can also get crunk by going to www.reppsports.com. Type in ALWT Gaming and get your Raise Energy drinks for 15% off. Yes, you guys can get them at GNC, but you guys can't get them at GNC without the 15% off code of ALWT Gaming. Might as well go to Rep Sports, reppsports.com. Get yourself a case, and you guys can get yourself some guava mango, some Galaxy Starburst, some sour gummy worms, and these are not made up flavors. These are actual real flavors, and I tried them all, and they're all quite delicious. And I'm not just gassing it. It really is delicious. Like, really. But you can also, if you don't like energy drinks, you guys can also get it inside your Rep Sports gear, your water supplements, your workout powders, the whole nine. Type in ALWT Game at checkout, get 15% off. This Saturday morning is our 9 to 5 segment. Might be a little different. We have to see exactly how this is all going to go. I know Gravity has a part-time, so he's going to be there. If he's available, I know he will be available on there from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. But me and It's the 9 Ball, I know we're going to be on there for the first part. We have to see how the second part's going to go. We might switch on for some Final Fantasy 14, so TBD. But at least you guys could get a couple hours in with me and It's the 9 Ball on Blade and Soul, which is an older MMORPG, but they actually announced that this is going to be a second one's going to be coming up. Well, they announced it this year that the second one's in the works. So I know me and It's the 9 Ball played the tutorial portions, and that was practically it. We haven't actually dove heavy into it, but the combat's pretty fun, and we're going to kind of dive into it and see where the journey takes us. So if you guys like that Kung Fu, we will see you guys there at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday, which is the 15th. And then, of course, Saturday night, all day anime, me and Gravity Mark Dos. We're going to be talking some great anime stuff. I got some good stuff to talk to you about, man, because I started some other animes, started rewatching some, like Sword Art Online and everything like that. Yeah, we got some stuff we're going to talk about. It's going to be some good time. And I think I said this before, but want to say it again. Crash Be Smashing, thanks again for the sub. I appreciate it. That was about 18 minutes ago. Appreciate you.
Much love.
Yep, make sure, again, if you guys do have Amazon Prime, and you guys want to be cool like Crash Be Smashing, you guys can just link your Amazon account with your Twitch account, and then you have a free Prime. If you guys don't use it for us, use it for Abs3315. If you guys don't use it for Abs3315, use it for Little Tofu, who's currently playing Plasmaphobia, and that's Little Lil Tofu, TOFU 92.
What did you say?
Plasmaphobia? Or Phasmophobia. That's it. Phasmophobia is
yes, I bought that game. You should play it.
Yeah, that's what she's currently playing right now. If you guys don't want to use it for her, go ahead and use it for Nasty V Nas. That's NASTY, V as in Victor, N as in Nancy, AS as in Sam, and that first N was an N as in Nancy as well. Which she's playing Apex Legends as well. I wouldn't be surprised if her and Abs3315 are against each other right now. You guys don't want to use it for that. You guys can use it for Queen Bells. This is a whole. You guys could ultimately, it's a free sub. Use it for a Twitch streamer that you guys want to support.
Yeah, use it. Don't waste it.
Yeah, use it. Don't lose it. You know what I mean? And then, of course, next Tuesday is going to be back here with ALWT Things Gaming episode 49. And we're going to see what's going on there, see what this is about. Guys, we are a month away from Final Fantasy Integrated. We're a month away from E3, and I cannot wait to see what that's going to look like. But it looks like we're going to have to wait another week before we start talking about video games. So until next time, everybody, control, alt,
complete.
Bleed.
peace, love, and hair grease.